Good afternoon, class of third graders. Today I'm going to be teaching you a mini lesson about determining the main idea of an informational text and recounting the key details and explaining how they support that main idea. So what we're going to do at first is we're going to read this informational text about field biologists, and then what we're going to do is pull out the main idea and then find the key details that support the main idea. Afterwards, we'll be using a graphic organizer to organize our ideas just in case we may have to use those to write a paper. So, with that being said, let's start reading. I'll start off reading and then I'll call on someone to read what is next. Field biologists. Field biologists are curious, adventuresome, and observant. They must love exploring nature and reporting on what they find. Some scientists spend most of their time in a laboratory, not field biologists. A field biologist studies living things in their natural habitats. Today's field biologists usually specialize in a particular plant or animal, ferns, say, or black bears, an ecosystem or habitat type like wetlands or alpine forests, or a place like the Amazon. Can I have a volunteer read the next paragraph, please? Go ahead, Abby.
Field biologists collect data in different ways, depending on their specialty. Some collect samples of live plants, soil, or water. Others may record the location and number of animals in a certain area. Can I keep reading?
Yep, go ahead.
For example, ornithologists, is that right?
That's correct.
Birds experts track the populations of certain species to ensure that they are healthy and not at risk of becoming threatened or endangered. To do this, they capture birds, place tags on their legs, release them back into the wild, and then check back after a period of time to see if their tagged birds are still thriving.
Can I have another volunteer to read the next paragraph? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Entomologists, insect experts, often collect insects for study. They may trap them by leaving dishes of sugar water on the ground or swinging nets back and forth over bushes. But botanists, plant experts, may travel to unexplored parts of the rainforest to look for new species of plants.
Can we have one more volunteer to finish? Go ahead.
Field biologists do spend some time in the lab or office compiling their findings and ratings about what they've discovered. Many work for government agencies or universities. They often teach college classes and usually publish articles in scientific journals in order to share their findings with other biologists. But they always head back into the field before too long to see what else they can discover.
Okay, guys. Now we've finished reading the informational text on field biologists. What do you guys think the main idea or the main topic of this text is? Any volunteers? Jonathan?
It talks about different scientists.
Right. So the main one that it's talking about is field biologists. So we could say that the main idea of this informational text is field biologists. All right, so looking at the details that support, or maybe let's look at some of the things that explain what a field biologist is. So let's take a look at even the first paragraph. Some scientists spend most of their time in a laboratory, but it says not field biologists. So that's one detail we can look at that explains and supports the main idea. So we can list that field biologists don't spend their time in the laboratory, but rather in the field looking at animals and different insects and plants. Can anyone raise their hand and find another supporting detail to support what a field biologist is?
Studies living things in their natural habitats.
Right, there we go. Good job, Abby. So, as I said before, they like to be outside and they're not inside doing the lab. Can we kind of go down to maybe the third paragraph, and where it talks about ornithologists? Can someone tell me what an ornithologist is?
A person who studies studies birds.
Birds, correct. So that's just a certain type of field biologist. So now we're kind of breaking down the different types of field biologists. Jonathan, do you want to tell me what an entomologist is?
Scientists who look at insects.
Correct. So as you guys see, we're beginning to find different categories. So we can break this whole informational text down into a graphic organizer. So what I have is a mobile device app called Inspirational Maps, in which we will be making a graphic organizer to put all of the supporting details around the main idea, so we can see how these supporting details actually support that main idea. So we will do this as a class. Okay, what do we say the main idea was, guys? You can shout it out.
Field biologists.
There you go. Good job, Jonathan. So we can look at, we can make one of our subcategories. What do they study? So we can put in studies plants or animals. And then we can put in the different types of plant and animals that we see from the text. So one of them would be what? Ferns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then can someone else tell me an animal they may study?
Black bears.
Black bears. That's right. Okay, so also in the text, we found how there are different types of field biologists. Does anyone want to give an example of one of those field biologists so we can actually add another category up there? Jonathan?
Ornithologists.
Ornithologist. Good job. Oops, I made a mistake. So this is actually going to be types of field biologists. Does anyone want to list off one more or tell me one more that was found in the text?
Was botanist one?
Yeah, that works. Good job. There's one more from the text. Can we have someone in what the last one would be? Go ahead.
Would it be the entomologist?
Yep, good job. Okay, now you guys can see how our ideas have kind of spread into their own categories, so we can see what is being, what details support our main idea of field biologists. There's another thing that we can look at. So, when looking at this, in the first paragraph it says, today's field biologists usually specialize in a particular plant or animal. And then it goes on to say that they also study different types of ecosystems. So we can also add that into another category and look at what types of ecosystems that they do research on. So types of ecosystems they study. Jonathan, do you want to help us look at what is the first ecosystem that they study?
Is it wetlands?
Yep, good job. We have another volunteer. Add another one. Yep,
Alpine forest.
alpine forest. Good job, Abby.
Thank you.
And then can we have one more? You could just shout it out if you know it.
Could it be the Amazon?
Yep, the Amazon is correct. Good job, guys. So now, if you look at our graphic organizer, we have supporting details broken down into to different, more closer fine details, which make up what a field biologist is. So now, why do you think using a graphic organizer is important? Does anyone know? So if you guys don't know, a graphic organizer can be used to help you write a paper or write, you can maybe write something about field biologists. Now you have a template to see exactly what you'll be writing about. So you can break down a paper by using this. So you can introduce what you're going to talk about, which is field biologists, and then you can have the first sentence be about the types of field biologists that there are, which we listed: botanists, entomologists, and ornithologists. And then maybe the second sentence you can have that they study plants and animals, and that's broken down into finer details such as black bears or ferns. And then you can also, for the last sentence of details, you can talk about the types of ecosystems that they actually studies, which are wetlands, alpine forests, and Amazons. So when looking at a main idea, it's important to find the details, and because you can understand how they are being supported and realize why they are important. Thank you, third graders, for your time. I hope you learned something from this. For the homework, we'll be making your own graphic organizer using inspiration maps about an informational text of your choice. I'll look forward to looking at your work. Thank you. We'll see you next class.